Hey, Jim. Hey, Kathy, are you on?
She sent an email that said.
Yeah,
She may not be, yeah. I'm setting it up like she's gonna be there, but.
Yeah.
Yes, I you. Yep. I will stay on for as long as I can. I'm not sure how long I'll be able to be on, and I might be on and off. So yes, you can do that. Yeah. That was about the truck, right? Yep, you can do that.
He will be back on the 31st.
You give us the whole budget, new one?
Yeah.
Okay.
The stuff that's in gray,
Where the changes.
yeah, those are the changes we did. You ready, Darlene?
Yeah.
Recording?
Yep.
Okay, let's start the meeting. If everyone stand, join me in the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we need to change the resolution we did at the last board meeting. That was 10824, Darlene?
Yes.
Okay, we had DB 5110-400, and we're gonna replace that with DA 5130-200. So it's a resolution to amend Resolution 10824 to replace budget line DB 5110-400 to say budget line DA 5130-200 in the amount of $44,270.32.
Can you get me?
Yeah, I'll give you.
Can you explain why we're doing it?
Because equipment has to be bought out of the A fund, and I don't know why I wrote the B fund. It should have been the A fund. We can't transfer from B to A. ARPA goes right into A, and then this is an equipment line. New equipment has to be bought out of the A fund, so that's why we're doing that.
Thank you.
Is there a motion?
I make a motion.
A second?
Yeah.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's carried. Darlene, you need this? Here.
Thank you.
Okay. There's that. Okay. The change is the
Is it going to
7.
be a roll call vote or not?
No, as long as you got all members listed.
Okay.
It
All right.
doesn't need to be.
Okay.
I mean, it's a unanimous vote, so.
With one absent.
And Steve was good with that. Town board, are we starting on the first page? You want to start? Oh, you want to bypass those? That's
No.
fine by me.
No.
The highlighted gray, I'm just going to the changes we made. So that's page, I don't know, mine doesn't have a page number on it.
6 on it.
Okay, whatever it is. It's 10-10-400. We changed that to 750.
Our reasoning for that.
That was
I think we just looked at.
training,
the
yeah.
history.
The lack of us using it. It was, yeah.
We looked at the history and determined that we weren't really using it
Yep.
to that extent, so we decided to bring it down a little.
All right, thank you.
Next one down, 14-10-400. Legal fees we dropped to 80 with the 3,000 going to each water fund besides the 80.
It's
Same
still
page, Ed.
You see it?
I don't think they actually have a number on it.
It's 16-20-400. The third one down, we dropped to 120
From 140, right?
from 140, yeah. And if something happens where we need to, there's money in the A fund that we can transfer over. And one thing to consider too, we don't know actually 100% where we're at. There's a good starting budget, and if we get hard numbers next month, December, we can always amend the budget. We have to.
And what did we say is in buildings contractual?
Everything, gas, electric, any maintenance. What else is buildings contractual? Gas,
Anything that we
electric,
have to do to repair
lights,
or the
yeah.
function of the building.
So, but
There shouldn't be anything
I was just,
to the building that we have to do anymore,
that was what I was gonna say.
pretty much. Everything's been fixed.
Yeah, I guess that's my first
We're
question.
putting a new conduit line in for the generator to run over to the courtroom.
What's,
Well, the
What'd they
Board
charge
of
us for?
Election, we don't know yet. I mean, right now, we got the conduit in, we gotta pull the wire, and then Charlie's gotta come back and put in another transfer box. The Board of Elections very concerned about the upcoming election with some kind of threat maybe of electric. And I wanted to make sure we all had generators, which I assured them we did, until I was informed that there's 2 service lines coming into the building. One for the main building that was on fire that one time, and then there's a second one coming out of the transformer box there that runs right direct into the court, which would have been the new section of National Grid when they owned it. So I did not realize that that was not hooked up. If there was going to be a power failure, we could run the main building where all of our offices are, and the court would have just gone home. But that's where the elections is. So they were concerned. So I thought, well, we had time. We will run a conduit, conferred with Charlie, and we should have it hooked up. So in case of an event during the election, that we can start the generator, which one's fine, throw the switch, and we can send enough current over there to run lights and outlets and some personal space heaters. We will not be able to run the heating, air conditioning on top, but it's one day.
Our generator's not big enough?
It is, but the service over there is not.
Okay. If you look at 22 and,
Can I
yeah,
stay on that one and just,
that's
so-
what that's what I'm talking about, yeah.
oh,
Prior years, 111 and 22.
yeah,
I mean, granted, we don't have, even this year, they're figuring we're gonna spend $100,000.
but I still go back to saying,
what?
Electric, heat, that costs a lot of money to keep
We-
this place going.
we should kind of know what we've spent so far on, we should have those bills where we can say, even if you look at last November, December, what we spent, we should be able to say, with a little bit of variance, that's roughly what we're gonna do this year.
Well, you've got the actual so far and what they're projecting we're gonna have by the end of the year. Right under $100,000 for 24.
Okay, but that, again, if that's all that's in there is the actual utilities, that's fine, but if there's one-time things in there, like this conduit that you're talking about, right? That clearly is not something we're doing every year, so my question still goes back to, I see what the number is, but I think we need to understand what is in that number, because not what kind of things go in there, what actually are the charges for the year. Because if there's something in there that was a one-time charge, we're not going to incur that again. And so we might only need, let's say you take out all the one-time charges, right, Dale, and you do just your electric and gas, that might only be $60,000.
But you never know what wind, storm, lightning strike, fire again is going to happen. I mean, there's an awful lot of variables and unknowns that we don't go through. If we do not spend the money, it is no expense to the taxpayer.
That's not
I
true.
don't wanna
That's
run-
not true. We've taxed them, so we have the
I
money.
understand that, but the money stays in the account.
Understood, but you weren't here last week or last time we met, I explained that the problem is we need to try to tax each year for what we're actually doing, because what happens is you're taxing somebody that might move away next year. So they've paid for something that they're not getting the service for because we've built up such a reserve. So that's all I'm trying to understand. We need to understand what's in the actual number, determine what's our normal monthly spend, and then you make some adjustments for what may come up, right? Like you try to add a little cushion in. But we don't take last year's number and just add to it, because you don't know how many one-time charges, like you don't change your roof on your house every year, right? I mean, you do that one year and you don't do it again for 20 years. So that's what I'm saying. We need to understand what the actual expenses are that are in there. That's all I'm
That's
saying.
fine. I'm not here to dispel
Do you
the
know-
budget process for this, because it's not really up to me. It's up to you guys.
Correct.
I'm just in charge of getting it done when it breaks.
Right. What the 72 or 73 that we've spent so far, is it all just normal utility bills? There's been no
Well, we did the
unusual charges
generator.
that are in there?
We
That
did
was
the
our,
gen-
that was our,
ARPA money.
we used ARPA money.
And you're not gonna have ARPA in the future.
Yeah.
Right, but hopefully we're not fixing the generator
Yeah.
next year.
No, I'm saying
No, but
this
it's
wasn't, buildings
painting.
contractual wasn't on the,
If we paint anymore, it's not gonna be ARPA. If we do carpets anymore in this side, it's not gonna be.
So I guess that's my point though. What are you planning on doing next
I'm not
year?
planning on doing really anything.
I have no,
Okay, so then I would say then we don't need 120 if we're not planning on doing anything,
Is it the
right?
1620.400 line?
Yes.
All right, that's where some of the stuff comes out of the clerk's office,
Mhm. Yep, yep.
the envelopes, the stamps,
That's why we left that at 120, I think, because you said that last time. That's right.
But you mentioned 20,000. We cannot, if we're spending $20,000 on paper and stamps and envelopes, we need to reevaluate some other method because
$800 for a water bill
yeah.
for stamps. That ain't counting the cards.
That's per quarter,
Mm-hmm.
so that's 2,400, that's a far cry from.
Well, I understand. That's just one aspect. I'm
Okay.
not trying to
You said
justify
something
that.
so you're able to tell us that, and that's the kind of information I think we need to know. What are we spending on normal, everyday spending? What is our electric bill running on average? I recognize every month will be different, but in the winter month, it's, I don't know, 10,000 a month. In the summer months, it's $4,000 a month. We should have that information.
You get the bills every month. You should be able to
We're
write it
gonna,
down.
we got this, we're tracking that this year. We already talked about this.
The problem is everything goes into contractual, so, and I understand that. I'm just wondering if there's any knowledge of anybody that has any knowledge that sees the actual utilities every month. What have we been spending?
I don't remember. Off the top of my head, I don't remember.
I still think 120 is high, personally. But
If we get fire or a lightning strike or something like that, that's covered under insurance pretty much, so I would think that would.
So what are you comfortable with on that?
well, we dropped it already 20,000.
we dropped 20 from what was asked, but again, you're basing the ask on last year's spend.
I'm just saying that's.
Did we do any projects
Last year's
last year?
budget, I'm sorry, last year's
Did we
budget.
do any
Outside
project?
of ARPA?
Yeah.
The
The paint was ARPA.
carpet
Darlene's
was
office
ARPA.
was ARPA.
Yep.
The carpet was ARPA. Anything we did on the
Why we
building
were
was
using it
was
up.
ARPA.
Right. I don't know. There's some windows
So-
that need to be replaced.
Okay.
There's nothing that has to be done. You were asking me of things that may be.
Right, so I think,
So what are you comfortable with?
I don't know, because I don't really know. I guess my question is, what is our normal monthly spend?
Nobody
And,
seems to
and
know.
then, well, then I'm happy to come in here on Friday and look through the bills again and try to figure out from the utilities, what's our normal monthly spend? What are we spending on heat and electric and, you know, I'll take January, February, and March when we're spending to pay postage and so on, and try to get an idea of what we're normally spending. But then the key is, what extra projects do you think that you
I
have
none
planned?
in mind.
Okay, then, so I would say then we want to look at our monthly spend, we want to add a little bit of cushion, and that's what our number would be.
We were talking about the veranda or whatever that is, covering that.
We had talked about it
Yeah.
numerous times,
Yeah.
yes. There's been engineered plans back when Skip was,
The
Supervisor.
courtyard out here, putting a roof over it and making it offices for the courts or for the court, and putting an emergency door in for Darlene. She's only got one way in and out if there's a fire. If we knock out her third window and make it a door.
So what would the cost of that be?
Knocking out a block wall, that's.
well,
So I would say then,
it's putting a roof on two different height buildings too. So I'm not a contractor. I have no right.
So I would
to
say if it's-
even venture a guess, but if that's something that we look at after the board approves the thought, and then we would get prices, and then we may have to wait a year to do it.
We can always transfer money in. This is the A fund. We've got plenty of money in the A fund. No, we don't have plenty of money in the A fund.
So what I would say is, then maybe that project doesn't go this year, but during next year before the budget, we get prices on what that's gonna cost, and that's how we add it to this line. We say, that project is going to be X dollars. We know what our normal spend is on utilities and what, you know, and supplies. You add that to the project, and then you put a little bit of a cushion in case something comes up that you don't expect, and that's how you come up with a number.
So, building contractual, we did nothing major to the building this year. That wasn't
Outside
ARPA
of
funds.
ARPA, no, I don't think so.
So this is actual what is needed to run the town, and 72 or 97 this year. So you spent nothing, no major repairs to the building that wasn't
Not
ARPA.
to the building, or the, water building, or the salt barn. The roof on that was ARPA too, I think.
Yeah, everything was alright. There was nothing,
Mhm.
nothing that came out of building contractual this year.
Sitting here, no, I can't think of anything right off the top of my head.
So I'm saying if we're projecting 97,
Why don't we drop it to 100?
or I was going to say like 110,
I could go for that.
that would give us a little cushion in case something else comes up. And if there's no out of the ordinary things in there, but I'm conceding to these things with the understanding that
Yeah.
next year we're going to have the details. So we
absolutely.
can see
I'm
what
good.
we've actually
Totally
spent.
agree.
Okay.
I'm good with 110.
Okay.
The other one was, the next line was 8810, next page. We increased that to 16,000 for salaries, they're repairing the headstones.
Can I just stop on that one?
Mhm.
That's just a reallocation, right, from a different fund to this fund. It's
Yes.
not additional money
Yeah.
that we're just.
Because they're gonna be charged out of this line, so
Is
yeah,
it-
yes, that's exactly
So
what it is.
instead of him, whoever this
Yeah.
is, spending time in a different area, it's going to be spent here.
Yeah. Different payroll line, yes.
Okay.
So where is that coming from?
What?
That 16,000?
What do you mean, where's it coming from?
Oh, you said it's not,
It won't be paid out of whatever line they would,
5110,
whatever,
100.
yeah, whatever they would normally be paid, if they were mowing lawns or whatever they were doing. Every job's got a different payroll line.
And Tina has gone back and she's added up all the 100s and determined that it ties out
Yeah.
to this sheet.
Yeah, everything's,
So what she's saying is they pulled it off of this sheet, and it's just the way they're allocating. Okay.
the next one, youth programs, she said we dropped that to 9,500 because they dropped the price on that?
Yep.
Okay, and then,
Well, they didn't drop the price. We've been doing 95, and
Okay.
they would like us to keep it at that
okay.
right now.
Planning contractual, we dropped to 4,000.
Mhm.
Yep. Nice.
We didn't make a change on DA 5142.1.4, those snow removals. I thought we were going to move those to the DB.
We can't move those to the DB because we did not give the Village of Medina a waiver last year. Actually, the town of Shelby has never given the Village of Medina a waiver on, you have to give them a
For
waiver
what?
at the beginning of the year for,
I forgot she was there.
what was that? That's, those things I sent you, Kathy? We have to give them a waiver on taxes?
You have to give them a waiver on real property taxes for real
Yeah.
property that they own in the village. That's what the waiver is for real property taxes on real property that they own in the village.
Mm-hmm.
It
So
doesn't relate to this issue. This issue is separate and apart from giving them a waiver on real property taxes in
Okay.
connection with real property that they own in the village.
Okay, so we'll move that to the DB.
No, I'm not for that at all, no.
I thought we decided last meeting that we were going to move that to DB.
No, I don't have anything marked on that.
What's the reason?
Tina's supposed to.
That's the snow removal, and we said because the taxpayers within the village that are in the town of Shelby are paying to maintain the roads in the town of Shelby within the village. So this is the plowing for outside of the town.
It's
For
my
outside?
recollection, there were 3 board members that agreed to that at the last meeting. And I had requested that the budget be run both ways so that the board could see what the impact was on the rates in connection with making its decision on that.
I think Tina was supposed to do that, wasn't she? Did we?
I do have that, I was gonna go over that at the end.
That's also the same one that I had there's all the information, oh no, that's the gas rates.
You got this.
Um,
That bag. This is moving the taxes over. To outside the village from townwide. For a tax rate from, outside the village would go from $255 last year to $580 this year,
Hold on, where are we?
right now. When we move, we take the taxes off of.
But you're looking at an example, you
Yeah.
want to go here. Your tax rate to move those 2 lines,
Yep.
you're saying if we move $200,000 to $300,000 of expense out of the DA fund and move it into DB, that the village tax rate is gonna go down to not, to 75,
75 cents per.
just by moving that one thing.
Yes, yes.
Scott, where is that? Did you send that to me?
Yeah, I sent that to you, Kathy.
Okay,
Probably,
sorry,
half hour, 45 minutes when I got it in.
all right, I will see if I can find that. I've been in trial all day, so.
Well,
And that also,
I don't want to sound unsympathetic, but what I would say is for many years, it has been the other way. So you've got, remember, the town of Shelby goes from basically the railroad tracks, give or take a little bit, all the way out to the wildlife refuge, practically, right? So there is a portion of that that is falling inside the village. So even though everybody considers that village, it still is the town of Shelby. So we've got taxpayers in the town of Shelby paying to maintain the roads within the village. And then we're gonna take the cost of maintaining, snow plowing the roads outside of the village of Medina. You're gonna put that on them also.
What's Ridgeway doing?
Ridgeway, I don't remember what
they have the same thing.
They're doing the same thing we're doing.
No, I don't think so. I think, I
looked
believe,
at it before I came in.
I believe Ridgeway has the snow plowing outside the, in fact, I am 100% sure. I spoke with Brian Napoli. The snow plowing is charged outside the village of Medina. I think I gave you guys, I can find it. I don't have it right this second.
You said it's
East
same
Aurora,
as
Orchard
ours?
Park.
Yeah. Did you give it to us, is that last meeting you gave us something?
Yeah, but I think, I said to Brian, does Ridgeway charge snow plowing to the DA or DB fund? He responded, whichever one is outside the village. So Ridgeway does not, they take the snow plowing. They do charge some highway inside, but they take the snow plowing and that goes completely outside because that's their thought over there is that the village is already paying to plow some of the roads in the town of Ridgeway.
Inside the village.
Yeah, but this is doubling their taxes. The people on the outside over doubling it.
I understand that, but when you look at the fact that the people inside the village that are in Shelby have technically been double paying for snow plowing for the last how many years?
Linda, I'll be honest with you, I'd like to somehow sit down with the village of Medina and try to talk this over, but I'm not voting for doubling the taxes on people.
I'd like to see the calculation, because that seems like a huge amount
That's a big
of change.
No, we might as well get our nooses ready now.
And actually, this should be a referendum on a,
Let the voters.
let the voters decide. The five of us should not decide to double people's taxes.
I guess I would ask then, what if,
I mean, this,
So you-
don't get me wrong, I understand every word you're saying. I don't like to see the people getting screwed in the village. I don't. Actually, I got kids that live in there. However, I think instead of just jumping into this, we should think this thing through. Maybe some negotiation with Medina or something, or come up with something. I just don't think I can go back and tell people your taxes are gonna be doubled,
so what if
even more than double.
so what if the village turned around and said, okay, so they're,
Why are they
I
so
don't know,
high?
I don't know why is
Yeah, why is theirs so high?
the village taxes?
Village tax rates are high because they provide far more services than towns do. If you live in a village, part of the reason that villages incorporate is to provide many more additional services, right? Many more amenities, police, fire, trash pickup,
You get
all
cornered
of the
outside.
towns can only do those things.
Hey, you're fine
Um,
with this?
many cases by creating special districts, right? You're not authorized to provide the same amenities in the way that a village is. And so that is why you will find village tax rates are always higher than town tax rates. typically, again, it sort of depends on how much,
So in reality, we're not
taxable
looking,
value, right, that there is in each of those municipalities, but generally that's the explanation.
okay, but what you're telling me is that they're not that big height that they've got over what we're doing is not for snow removal, it's for a bunch of other things. I'd like to know the actual amount that they're being charged in Medina for the snow removal, because if that's for their water, their fire, everything else
Oh.
that's going on in town, then I'd rather hear that it's 2%, and maybe we could come back and talk about that.
Well, I'm
You know what
sure
I
you
mean?
can, they're charging for snow removal. You can get a copy of their budget.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. I'd like to know how much they're actually charging for snow removal before I go back and tell people who live around me that I'm doubling, tripling their taxes.
Yeah, no, I mean, I get it. I do appreciate, Scott, thank you. I do appreciate you getting that done, and I apologize that I didn't see it earlier.
We just got it, Kathy, so I don't know that you missed it earlier. It just came out
Yeah,
recently.
it just came in.
I actually have to sign off for a few minutes, but I'll try and jump back on, okay?
Okay.
You know what I'm trying to say, right?
I do, but
I mean, because if they're only paying out of that, whatever they've got, 2% of it's going for snow removal, I mean, we could look at it again, so it wouldn't be that big of a deal for us to,
bring the village
you know what I
budget with
mean?
me.
This right here, I could never vote for that.
So these are the numbers right here, Jeff. This is what it'll do. That's an example off $130,000 assessed value. That's what it would be. So if your assessed value is more than that, it's gonna be more than that.
But
Less
you
than that.
understand my thinking?
Oh, yeah, no, yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I think we're looking at apples and oranges. That's what I'm saying. I mean, I have no problem with looking at what their snow removal is, and if there's something we can do to help the people in the town, I'd be happy to try to look at that and examine it. But this right here, there's no way we're gonna pull that one off.
Because if you go to this cover sheet. And these are the numbers. Those are the numbers you want to look at.
Is this the same one I got? Yeah, this is the same one I got here.
No, this is the tentative,
Okay.
and that's the, no, don't put that together. Where was the two sheets you had separate? These
The
two.
only thing I had is
Hold
what
on.
we went through tonight.
Yes, these two are separate. These are separate sheets that you got. So this goes with this. So these are the actual numbers for this year, right? Let me just give you the.
Okay, I'll go back, Jeff, and I'll get what the village is charging for snow plowing.
So.
Oh, wait a minute. Oh, no,
Are you still gonna go through with that thing you're talking about on Friday, coming down and looking at the bill?
yes.
There that is.
Is it YouTube on?
Yeah.
I got a text from somebody, it's not on.
This is the one with the change in the taxes. That's the 580, and this is the one that comes with the actual budget. So
Right.
that's
No
the difference in
video,
the number.
There's no way we could even
Only
ever
audio.
see their snow removal. This is
Video
pointless.
wasn't
I will get the village numbers for that.
Thank you. Everything's running right, darling?
I don't know.
Okay.
No, there's no video.
There's audio, you said, but no video?
Okay, so 51, 42, 1 and 4. Gotta check on those.
It's black.
Is the camera plugged into the computer?
Yeah.
Plug the cable right in to see. Because you don't have anything up on the.
Okay, so you're checking on that stuff, Linda?
Yeah, I will.
Okay.
I will get back to the village and get their budget. I thought I had it with me, but I don't.
What was next after that? Some feedback, huh? Oh, that's her phone? Oh, okay. There's none? If, what we could make so far, if you go to page 13,
It's page 13, because I'm out of order here.
it's,
Oh, yeah,
water.
yeah.
There it is. 2142, the non-metered water sales.
Yep.
That's our debt service fee or maintenance and service fee for each one of those districts. So that's what we're paying yearly, or we're taking in like 1 in 5. They don't have debt. They don't
Right.
have loans. So
Yep.
that's the $25 a quarter. That's what that comes off of.
And where's that going into?
That goes in. That's kept. It's kept on the books separate. So water is one account. We're going to make a separate account for that, but it's kept on the books. Each water district has a separate account on the books for their debt service fee or service and maintenance fee. And then if you go, the top line is what we make on water in each one of those districts.
So can we just stop there, because this is
Yeah.
a general question along every district.
Yep.
So if you go down to the source and supply, which we'll use District 1, for example,
Source.
it says we're buying 69,500 from the village.
Okay.
We sell it at a markup. So why is our metered water sales only 47,000? Why would the revenue not be at least, it should be more, but why would it not be at
Marked up
least?
240,000.
Yeah, so I would think it would be,
It should be, but again, we're going off of numbers that are skewed right now. We're trying to get the best numbers we can. That should be source of contractual, yeah, unless this is 25, so
They can't be right. How could that be?
69,
69.5 versus the 45 of revenue.
69.5, source of supply contractual.
Because we should be making $2.50 roughly per thousand, right? They say about 1,000 gallons.
We're paying what, $5.97 per thousand?
We're charging $8.60 or something like that.
Or
Yeah, so we're roughly $2.50 for every 1,000 gallons. We're making $2.50. That number, we should at least be covering our metered sales.
Yep.
So
Well, 4A and 4B we're not. So all of these water district numbers, once we get done with the budget, once we get hard numbers, the percentages that we're charging and contributing, they have to be redone.
I'm not talking about the district as a whole. I'm
Yeah.
just talking about the water we're buying and the water we're selling, not talking about any of the other expenses. But if we're buying $69,000 worth of water from the village and we're selling it at a $2.50 or 60-cent profit, on top of that, we should at a minimum be covering our expense, but that number should be more.
Yes.
4A 52.5, and then we're only bringing in 22.5 metered sales.
So
what it says.
Again,
Yeah, that's way off.
so the district,
Doesn't make any sense.
so the expenses still might not be covered by the sales. That's a completely different question.
Yep.
But the sales should be $2.30 or whatever the markup is.
Yeah.
Higher
So,
than-
so I think she's got wrong. I don't know if Tina put these numbers in, but
I think
where they
that
came
may have
from,
been
but
Backwards.
it doesn't,
It could be, yeah.
which is then making us estimate to take more out of fund balance, which, yeah, you could be right. I don't know, because I don't know where these numbers came, like, I don't know where she got them, whether she's estimating or.
That was,
And I find it hard to believe, look at the, that you, maybe you're right, Dale, maybe they are backwards, because if you look at 22 and 23, just in District 1, it's saying we bought $73,000 and well, I guess there was leaks, so that's possible, I guess,
there
in
was
those
major
years.
leaks, yeah.
But if you're saying now all our leaks are fixed, then we should be covering at least what we're paying the village. So I think that's a check that we've got to find out.
Yep.
Because that's going
So Water
to
District-
affect every district.
Water District 1, total district revenue is 97,668, and the total expense is 97,668.
No, it balances out. We have to, that bottom line is what you're taking out of, fund balance, the water. I'll check with Tina tomorrow. I'll clarify these numbers for you. Man. We're trying to run reports with Williamson and
Can
get
we,
numbers.
I'm sorry, I don't want to keep jumping all over, but we have Dale here, so can we go back to some of these questions we had for Dale?
Yep.
So that we can try to. Okay, so Dale, in the DB fund, there's a line called maintenance of roads and contractual, I guess.
DB 5110-400.
Correct. So there's 210,000 in there. Can you tell us what that is? Like, what are you budgeting for in that?
I'm budgeting for, hopefully for some road repairs. And that's my summer diesel. That's truck equipment repairs.
But how much for each? Like,
I don't know, because I'm like you. I don't have numbers. I thought money left in there that I was going to pave some roads in August, but when things went bad, I stopped, and I knew the truck was coming, so I stopped. And if we had to use that money, if it was possible to use that money, it would have been there for the truck. A lot of it would have gone for paving roads.
So we stopped.
I stopped
paving, where you could have kept on paving.
Yes, sir.
Because you were afraid that we weren't gonna have.
I didn't know where my numbers were exactly. The truck came in August. The bills didn't get paid. Things were a little tense in my world, so I just stopped.
So how many more miles of road are you saying that you think you're going to do next year? Like, if you stopped, what's the
I
plan,
was
and what does it
hoping to-
cost roughly per mile? I don't know how you
Chip
judge
seal
that.
is $21,000 a mile.
Okay.
That's just to seal it. To pave it, it's all dependent on volume of material you put down, because we have to re-crown the road. I guess you might say we pave that part down the middle. Everybody has seen that strip down the middle that's paved.
Mm-hmm.
When we come in, you don't want it flat, you want it 2%. Some of these have a well in there that the passenger tires rides in. So when the guy comes in, he sets the blade down on the center of where we pave. That's a constant now, because you've straightened that out. He sets his blade to 2%, so it could be 1.5 inches at the end, 4 inches. I've seen it as deep as 6 inches out there. So there is no way to make you can make a rough estimate.
So can I, and maybe you're doing this already, but since I don't know for sure, I would make a suggestion that as we pave roads this coming summer, that we keep track of like a job sheet, right?
Here's how much all the time.
Okay, so we should be able to take those job sheets and add them up and get an average and say, on average, we are spending.
It's about $75,000 a mile.
Okay, so how many miles are you thinking you're going to do next year?
Well, between the CHIPS account and that, like I said, I wanted to do Blair, and I wanted to do Harrison, and Munzel's in disrepair.
Okay,
How many
and
miles is that?
I was just going to ask that.
Blair's?
6 to 7. I mean, that's about the max.
So that's $500,000.
The total is the 6 to 7 max, or each road is?
Each mile.
No, total
The
road.
total of the
Total
three
mileage.
roads is
Total
7
mileage
miles,
is-
roughly?
Yeah, 6-7 miles is what,
It's $75,000.
we chip
a mile.
seal, we
Yeah.
chip seal a lot more than we pave.
Hmm.
But seeing is that we had everything chip sealed this year, I have no roads next year to chip seal.
So we're paving.
So I was gonna pave.
Does that include grinding, the 75,000?
We can do it a little cheaper when we use the millings, but when we do this reprofiling of the roads with greater pave, we tend to lean towards the hot mix because it has a lot more strength. The problem with the roads is there is no meat or material on the outside edges.
Okay, can I go back to that for a second? $75,000 per mile in 7 miles, it's five,
That would be the highest. I mean, you're talking.
because that's half a million dollars, so clearly we're not budgeting enough to do that. So that's what I'm trying to understand, like what mix are we,
Basically, a lot of it is determined in the spring after we see what the winter has done to them. It is very, very difficult to even conceive the fact that I can come up with an exact plan for each road with precise numbers for that mileage.
nobody's asking for precise, but we are trying to,
Well,
we have,
that's,
the whole point of budgeting is making your best guesstimate, right? So that's what
so you
we're,
could probably pave it for, we'll say 40, and then it's another 20,000 to seal it the next year. You do it the next year.
Okay, so-
Pave 1 year, seal the next.
so whatever we paved this year, we should know that we're gonna
We
seal
cold
X number of
paved-
miles.
We cold paved 3/4 of a mile on Bigford Road, and it was a total of 81,000, and that's with the sealant put on it. So the total bill for a 3/4 mile cold pave, where we had it upwards of 6 inches deep on the outside, 3.5 on the inside. That's using the millings.
$81,000 for 3/4 of a mile.
Mm-hmm.
And how many miles you want to do next year?
That's paving,
Yeah.
that's cold paving. There is a plethora of different opportunities that we can do. When we grader pave, we just dump it out of the trucks and the grader blade lays it out. We've done it for years and it has worked very, very well, but it's all determinant on how many loads we dump in order to reprofile. In 3/4 of a mile, say Smith Road or Barber Road, we were using, got your calculator?
Mm-hmm.
Take 15 times 20 times 75.
22.5.
That's what it cost me. It was 15 loads of blacktop. It's $75 a ton with 20 ton and a.
Yeah, I'm not, I guess,
I'm trying to read
Yeah.
back in my mind and come up with the numbers. I don't have these in front of me.
Yeah.
Okay, including the CHIPS fund,
I
what are you
get
gonna need next year to do those 6 miles of road? How much money are you gonna need?
I'll take all I can get, but how.
okay, so there's.
Give me, no.
See,
Give me,
there's-
give me a
What'd I tell you?
guesstimate. Are you gonna need $500,000? You're gonna need
So here's,
$400,000?
can I just,
If you were to match what the chips give us, we would be very happy. We would be able to just about.
Well, we
finish
can't
it.
match
okay,
that.
so here's,
Oh, we're
We're
gonna.
almost there.
Yeah.
so let me explain why I'm going at this. So, okay, so when I look at Barry, Ridgeway, and Shelby, right? Barry's 55 square miles with 94 miles of road. Ridgeway is 50 square miles with roughly 84 miles of roads. Shelby is 46 square miles with 76 miles. So we're the smallest of the three. And their budgets are about $400,000 in the highway less than ours. So that's what I'm trying to understand. What are they doing differently than we're doing?
They have been aggressive for decades to keep their roads up. Ours are very negligent. You go down Edwards Road, ask one of the ladies here tonight. That was done in 2019 before I came in here. It's fallen apart. You look at some of the roads that we did when I first got here. Bigford was shot, Town Line was shot. A lot of the roads needed a lot of attention.
Understood.
Barry has been very aggressive, so now they can lay back and just get by with a cheap chip seal or skim coat,
Okay.
micro pave.
Okay, so I'm I'm guessing since our budget, I can see what our budgets have been over the last couple of years, though we've been throwing money in there. How long before we get to a point where we can back
We're
up?
almost there. We're within a few years. We have done a massive amount, but when you get done with them, you have to go back and maintain them. That's how you keep your budget back down.
Understood. So I guess that's where I'm going is.
I started out with Sanderson Road. That was one of my first ones. And we did it the way they always did it. And right now the shoulders are coming apart on it. So we're going to have to revisit that after the 5 years. 5 years will be next year, but we won't do it next year. Town Line Road, when I first got here, we trained it, which is they come in, we dump 2-3 inches of stone on top of the road. They come in with a machine, they pick the whole thing up, grind it, add new stuff, oil to it, and lay it back down. That is holding beautiful today, but that's going to need sealing again. It's been 5 years. Bigford Road blew apart in spring. We trained that one. That's holding solid very well right now. We did the other half of it this year. We've already done South Woods, Sour Springs, what's the one, Tibbetts. We have done a lot of them. Ryan's done, Johnson's done, Hoffman's done. I mean, done to the point where we grader paved them and sealed them. I still need to redo Waterworks. I need to redo Sanderson. I need to do Munsell. That's dismal. We need to do Blair. We need to do Harrison. Is there any more? At the moment, I can't think of another one we got to do.
Okay, so based on what you know about the roads you just said need to be done, that's what we're trying to understand. What is it at the $75,000 a mile, or is it the $22,000?
No, we're not going to spend that on Munsell Road because that's a very limited, narrow road. So no, that won't be that much. Harrison Road's a high traffic road that needs to have more meat put into it. But again, I don't know how the winter's going to treat them, so we may have to divert funds at a different time in that point aspect of it. To give you a defined number per mile, I can't do it. I've been very comfortable with the money I've been getting. We've been getting a lot of stuff done. If you want to add some to my 5110 400, lovely. Would just like to maintain with what we got, the 200 to 210, we'll get by with it. If you want to use my CHIPS money for something else in the future, well, that takes away from my ability to finish the roads. We came real close to getting it done in the 5 years.
Yeah, I think we're just trying to determine, is there money somewhere that we can take out? Are we overestimating our expenses? Because when
it comes to the roads, absolutely not.
Because when I just in total budget for the general fund and the highway fund, Barry's at 1.8 million, Ridgeway's at 2.39 million, and we're at 2.7 million. And that's in total, not just highway. That's general fund and highway funds, right? So it just seems like we're a smaller area. I'm just trying to understand. The numbers speak for themselves, and that's all I'm trying to understand.
How much do they take in a year?
It's not about what they take in. I'm not worried about I'm not asking.
This is a much larger building than.
The revenue is completely different.
Problem.
Yeah, we're just trying to understand the
But this
spending.
building's a whole lot bigger than Ridgway's and Barry's, isn't it? Just for a small comparison.
Correct, but if we've done all the work on this building in the previous years, we've done the roof, we've done the painting,
We haven't done the roof. We just put air conditioners up and put some carpet down and some paint on the walls.
Okay, so what else has to be done in the building?
At the moment, everything's working, so I don't have.
Okay, so so the building is not in this that's causing the increase. That's all I'm trying to understand.
Well, if you don't want to increase it to 210, we should at least leave it at 200, I think, for maintenance of the roads.
Yeah, I'm not looking to take out something that we need. I just need to know we need it. That's all.
Well, we do
And I'm-
need to fix the roads, and like I said, even though we get done with the major repairs of them, there's maintenance of them.
Well, what do you guys wanna do with that one? You wanna leave it at 210, or you wanna leave it where it was at 200 last year? He requested 210.
I'm fine with 210, especially after he held up this year because of the truck. We just, according to what
Well,
I'm
I'm like you, I don't have any way to know what's left in the account. You know, by September, you know, you're getting at the end of the season for paving. I'm not pointing the finger of fault at anybody, but I just didn't know. I had a rough idea what I thought I had in there.
What were you saying, Jeff? The
Well,
210?
I'm fine with 210. I was just going through the figures. We've already out of the requested budget request, we've taken $85,000 out of the request. Just going through the
But
lines.
if we budgeted 200 last year,
Mhm.
and we've only spent 48,000, and he's put a hold on it, that means we have roughly $150,000 from this year's budget that hasn't been used yet.
It would have been used.
Understood.
Okay, so.
But that money is still now that money is gonna end up in the fund balance. Why aren't we taking that 150 out of fund
If you
balance?
had the opportunity to do those roads instead of saving that money, would you have spent $150,000 on
I
them?
would have spent 120. I never would have spent it all.
So,
So he's gonna take that money and use it.
understood, but what I'm saying is that money, because we didn't spend it this year, right? Because he's not gonna do the roads now, it's too late in the year,
Mhm.
right? Okay, so we've got $150,000 that we didn't spend, that's gonna drop into fund balance.
Does that have to
But
be
he's gonna-
removed too?
it's-
So alls I'm saying is, instead of adding it to the taxes and charging people taxes, let's use that. See on other places where she said, unreserved fund balance, appropriated fund balance, where she's taking that money. Alls I'm saying is let's take it out of that savings account that we just created this year, instead of taxing people again for it.
Now, last year we had,
We ended up taking that 150 that he didn't spend. I'm not saying he wasn't gonna spend it. I'm agreeing with you. Let's say he needed the whole 200. But this year he only spent 50 of it. So there's $150,000 that just got moved over to our savings account. So we've got the money in
You're
a
saying
savings.
draw it out of the savings.
And I'm saying take it from there. We appropriated it this year. We didn't use it. We dropped it
I
into
agree with
savings.
that.
Take it out of there and use it
I agree with that.
and not tax the people again for it.
I agree with that.
So if he's gonna
I
spend it.
just figured that money
Just
would
add
be there
60 to
somehow
it.
for him.
Yeah, I'm just saying that maybe he doesn't need 210 this year, he needs 60. Because he's got 150 that's gonna
Right,
come
so
out of
just put 60
savings,
with it.
and we're gonna put another 60 in.
So you're only
But
taxing
I
60,000.
mean, was I hearing you wrong? You had a lot of other jobs you were gonna do this year.
Oh, yeah.
So what are we gonna do about that? I mean, if what he just said of those jobs is gonna cost 120,000, right?
Mhm.
So that leaves you 30 over, right? And then you're gonna do what? Waterworks, Munzel, say Harrison, Blair?
Edwards.
But don't forget, he's got 240,000 of CHIPS money too, so now you're really looking to
But I'm
spend
just hearing the figures he's throwing
450,000.
out here for each mile.
But there's only so many hours in the day too to do it, so, and also because of the fact that we kind of don't know where we stand, I'm not really inclined to increase our budget and increase taxes to anybody. I think we need to
I
hold the
would be
budget as
happy.
flat as possible.
I would be happy with the 210. I would be happy with doing it the way you said. If there's 150 there, you bring it back in, add 60 to it, you're only taxing 60,000.
You can, that
About,
sounds good to me. I just didn't know that they had that
Because
capability.
anything we don't spend, it drops into that
Okay.
fund
Then we
balance, which
just-
is like a
he's
savings
happy.
account.
We got 210 for him, that's fine with me.
now where's that, that 150,000 that was padded last year? Now, is that coming back?
Padded where, Ed? I'm tired of you saying that.
No, you said it on the YouTube. It's all over the meetings.
It came out of water. Each district gave the percentage. Do you see it on this year's budget? No, it was taken off and it's back in the water fund. The money that wasn't spent goes right into water fund, right where it came out of. It was not padded.
Yes, it was. That's out of your mouth. It was padded. By every meeting, you said we got money because we padded his account or highway department.
Well, yes.
So I want to know where the hell it is. That's got to come back to the town. As far as I'm concerned,
You talking about the vault money?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
where did the vault money, where was the vault money for this year? What account was it in?
It's not on the budget this year.
It's in the 24 numbers, that's what we're asking.
Yes.
Where in the 24 numbers is the 150,000 that we set
And-
aside for the vaults?
On each water district, if you have the 20.
You gotta add them all up and spread over
Yes.
12 or 13.
Each water-
them numbers ain't right. You just admitted them water district numbers are not right.
No, we're talking about the
Not
budgeted numbers.
Not the 150, that is correct.
But I don't see anything in there
Hold on.
that comes close to totaling that.
It's an SW 8310 200
200 equipment, yep, right here.
spread over
Each,
all of the
on the
districts.
24th line, on the 24 budget, 8310, right there.
Okay, so
So
I,
each district, each water district gave the
okay,
percentage.
what district is that one?
One.
Okay, so you're telling me that we went 8310 400?
8310 400.
Okay, so this year he's saying 8310 400 contractual went down to 34. If you look on this page, Ed, 8310 400, it's the third one down under appropriations. The total now is 33,400.
Right.
That's what he's saying. And if you went to the last year's budget and you added all the 8310s up in each water district, it should be at least 150 or
Was that-
more.
The 200,
Yeah, 200.
correct?
Oh, I'm sorry,
We were-
200.
Yeah, 200, yeah.
Remember when we were going back constantly and I showed you in District 4, I put the wrong number on because of
Yes.
SW4.
Yes.
8310 200
Yeah.
is where that money went, but it was spread evenly per percentage across all the water lines. So when we submitted a bill, it was brought back out percentagely by each water district.
So we don't know how far your water, how many districts is it gonna affect?
Well, eventually, I wouldn't say eventually. It's gonna affect everybody because some of it will be $3, some of it will be $6. It's gonna affect everybody because we'll be able to come up with a blended price. What that blended price is, right, I don't know, because we haven't turned it on. So everybody will be affected by it in a positive way. Even if we don't push it all the way to Harrison Road to Darlene's house, you'll be affected because we'll be saving other districts money, so they'll be able to get a
I was
cheaper
asking if those were
price
switched,
out of
right?
it.
Is that what we said?
Yes.
Yes.
Because the revenue should be at
Yeah.
least, if the revenue should be more than the expense.
I did.
Okay, so
I couldn't read my
can
writing.
we go back to that just to be, I want to get back to that. We agree that we are going to take 5110 400 down to 60,000 because you're going to
Well,
get,
no, you have to remove the money, don't you, at the end of the year?
Well,
It's my understanding
Yeah.
that
Let me
has to
rephrase-
be moved.
I'm sorry, let me rephrase that. We're gonna leave it at 210, but we are going to, we are gonna put in the appropriated fund balance up above. Here, Scott.
Yeah.
We're gonna put $150,000
Balance
more,
at the end of the year, move the balance.
Right.
Correct?
but we have to put it on the budget that way. So, so that it looks like we're taking that money out of the reserve or out of the fund balance to cover that. So that 210 in whole is not being taxed to people. That's an outside, so it's not that I don't look out for outside people, okay?
So you did it. Hey, just, what, I mean, Eddie's statement about you using the term padding, maybe you have a different definition of it than he does.
No. I just. How? What do you mean?
We
Well,
had
they-
the account so we could not take it out of everybody's district. It was a separate account to improve Shelby water. I understand why you could use padded. We're not, we put money away to pad the grand account so that when we did this improvement, the money was there to be taken care of. 'Cause
So it was never
better
put in, it was
explanation.
never put in a highway fund. It was
No,
always
no.
put into the
Yeah.
water. Okay.
Because
So we
it's-
just want to, so that's one of those
Yeah.
expenses I was telling you, you do a one-time spend on
Mhm.
something.
Yep.
You don't want to take last year's budget and add to it because that 150 was in there.
It's
And we
not in
certainly
this year's
clearly
budget,
are
yeah.
not spending it again this year. So that's why I always ask, what, unusual charges are in a number that we don't want to repeat again? Because you're gonna check on the revenue and expense for those. Okay. So now I'm gonna go, Dale, and ask in the water for that equipment line for
400?
200.
That's,
8310 200.
yeah, that's the one we were just talking about.
Correct.
Oh,
Correct. But so I see like for District 1, I'm just gonna kind of use that one as a reference because it's the first one. We spent $288 in 22. We spent $500 in 23. We budgeted more, obviously, for the vault, but that's a one-time thing. And we spent almost 6,500 this year, but I'm guessing that's the vault piece or most of it. But now we're budgeting 10. Why? Why are we budgeting so much higher than when we've
I
historically?
don't understand where you're at. I don't,
Okay.
Water district one.
So
I don't set these. I do not go through the
So
budget
see
and
here-
set.
So see, here's equipment. In 22, we spent this much.
Okay.
In 23, we spent this much.
Mhm.
In 24, we spent this, but I'm assuming that's the vault.
You talking
No,
about
the
one?
second line down.
No.
Second line.
One is this one.
Yeah, I'm not
Okay,
talking about
all
one, I'm
right,
talking about
equipment.
two. Yep. So that 6,500 is probably the piece that goes to this district for
Mhm.
the vault.
I didn't make these numbers up.
Okay, so then I'm asking the wrong person.
Yep.
Thank you. Scott, why did we put $10,000 into
Cause that's what,
equipment?
Tina?
no, that's what has always been on that line. These are actuals what were spent, and that was
Well, the 6,500 that we spent
what
this
we
year,
actually spent,
yeah, but that would be the vault,
Yeah.
which was a one-time purchase. So we've been
Yeah.
running around, $300, $400, $500. So why do we have 10,000 in there?
I did not put that.
So again, I go back to saying what we really want to do is
We
wanna
went
look
off- we
for
went
what
off
do
of
we
the-
need- What do we need next year in District 1? And if there's no reason to have equipment unless you're doing a project, then that line should be $1,000, not 10,000.
we could average out 22 and 23.
I mean, I'm happy to put
Yeah, for all-
1,000 in there. In 23, we spent 580.
580, yeah.
I'm happy to make it 1,000 to have a little bit extra in case something goes wrong. But
But that's contractual, right? Contractual.
no, that's equipment. We're
Equipment.
talking 200. We're talking
If
80,
we blow a
10,
pipe-
200.
10, 200.
Oh, $1,000 won't cover a piece of pipe.
Yeah. So, any blowouts we have,
So again, I go back to what's the status of the piping in District 1? Is it
It's the
is it
oldest-
40 years
it's
old
the
and you've
old-
been finding breaks in it, or?
1972. We have not had a lot of trouble in District 1. The biggest expense in District 1 last year was the clay valve that went bad in the Cusimano pit.
What's,
That
what
was
did you
$7,000.
what did you say that was?
Clay valve.
Clay valve?
and that one we didn't know was running and running and running.
Mhm.
Okay, so that would make sense, as the older districts might have a little more in them, and the newer districts would have a little less in them, because if they're fairly
We've
new.
been having more problems. We have problematic areas. There's a good way to put it. East Shelby Road and Saltworks Road are our largest problematic areas. When they were put in, for some reason, the ductile iron across 31 on Saltworks Road is having adverse effects with the limestone. And it's popping golf ball size holes in them. That's not plastic over there. It's what they call ductile iron.
The line is.
So I don't know if it was a bad batch of pipe. We've done 3 between the corner and Todd's house since I've been here, and they did a few before that. So that's one of my problematic areas. The other one's from Wheeler Road all the way down to 31 on East Shelby Road.
That wasn't buried in sand.
That was not bedded in sand.
Yeah, it was bedded in
And it
rock.
sits right on top of rock. Actually, when we had our last break, Pass house, the pipe got over a piece of, bedrock. It moves, believe it or not, the water pipes move underground. I didn't think it would, but they do. They vibrate terrible.
So the equipment line is where the pipe comes. It's not on, that's not, it comes out of contractual, it comes out of equipment.
No, I would say it come out of contractual. Equipment would be special projects, maybe, Linda?
That's kind of what I would think. So then I go back to asking, then the equipment line is high and the contractual line is where you're paying for.
The valves, the couplers, the pipe,
Right.
things like that.
And how much is pipe? Like, was it by the
12-inch
foot
piece
or?
of plastic is $1,200 a stick for 20 feet. So a minimum, you're gonna use, you're gonna spoil one, if not more, depending on how long it's split.
Now that $25 a quarter repair and maintenance fee, that goes into that too?
That's what that, yeah, for, if there's a pipe break, that's what that would be for, yeah.
Now, that's different pipe in District 1 in Shelby Center.
Yeah.
It's a concrete covered steel, I believe. It's not ductile iron. But that's the oldest one that's been in since 1972.
I think it was 72 is a contract, yeah.
So I guess I go back to saying if the pipe comes out of contractual, then we want to make sure we have enough in the contractual line. We don't want to overestimate the equipment line if we're not, I would have guessed that
Could it be used? Could the equipment line be used?
that I don't know that.
Technically, it's equipment.
I don't know if you can, within the water district, I don't know. Kathy, are you on?
Yes, I'm on.
Okay. Can you move money from 200 to a 400 as long as it's in the same water district?
I believe so, as long as it's in the same district.
In district, yes.
I think the issue is transferring funds between districts.
Districts, okay. And did you hear our last thing about the taking the maintenance of the roads down? Well, not taking it down, but instead of
Yes,
taxing.
you're using,
Okay.
right,
Yeah,
you're
okay.
using, right, yes,
Okay.
that's, yes.
Okay, so we need to
That's fine.
increase the fund balance in use in that district to help cover so that they're not. Okay. All right, so I still go back to saying if the equipment line is equipment, we should budget it correctly. And if we need to put a little bit extra in the contractual line to make sure there's money there for pipes or couplers or whatever, we should put it in the right line. And then if something happens and we just didn't budget enough, then if there's extra, you can take it out of. But we don't want to be purposely moving money back and forth. So I would go back to saying if equipment is not the pipe, and I think maybe that's a clarification for Tina to tell us.
You can get it out of either, but contractual's better. So,
I think you normally take it from one, you don't want to be taking the same thing from multiple lines. I mean, you want to, because then when you're trying to find what your history is of what you paid, you don't want to have to be looking through 3 or 4 accounts to find it. It should all be in one place.
What are you saying? You want the money in equipment?
I'm saying I want it in, if we take the pipe, if they buy pipe and it comes out of contractual,
What's the proper line, equipment?
I'm thinking it's contractual.
contractual.
That's what I would think. I think equipment is when you're buying something that's like a fixed asset, something like the vault, right? That would be under equipment.
Okay.
But the general maintenance of and repairs of stuff, my guess is it would come out of contractual. But I will tell you, I'm not 100% positive on that. But I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
So equipment will drop into 1,000.
I mean, if that's kind of where we've been, that's what I'm thinking. Unless Dale knows of something that's going to happen in District 1 that he plans on buying some new piece of equipment for.
The only thing we need to buy eventually is more meters because they're starting to age out. We have to change out another dozen or 15 meters because we're getting 0 reads, no response, just hash marks or something. So we estimate a new meter is, last ones we bought were $308.
And how many do you think you need?
Just to get us back up to where everything's reading. A couple dozen.
And I'm sorry, I was writing.
And we're gonna have to charge the labor back to that district.
And is that, yeah, so the meters are mixed amongst all the districts.
When we buy them, we spread it out over all the districts.
So each
We
one-
don't know how to allocate until we use it.
So we could take equipment on each water district and drop it to 1,000. Cause they're averaging plus or minus a couple $100. Over 100, under 100.
Yeah,
So if I make each water district $1,000 on equipment. Contractual, 12, 1,500. You only got 950 for water 11 contractual.
I don't have these numbers.
No, I'm saying that's, what was adopted last year was 950.
Mm-hmm.
We kept it the same. Is that good for
for which district are you saying?
11?
Okay.
10's 815. You don't have a lot of issues with those?
Our biggest problem, if there's a leak, someone calls and said the pumps are running, the first place we go to is East Shelby Road. Second place we go to is Salt Works Road.
No problems on 9, that's at 1260.
Is a rule, no.
Okay. 8, contractual, you got 6,000 on there. Is heat an issue?
I would have to go back and check my map as to where 8 is, but I don't think that is one of the problem areas.
Which one, which district
8.
is Saltworks Road, the one you said has been a problem?
I think it's 3.
Okay, that would be, that's at 6,500. District 4B, no, yeah, 4B is 10,000.
Actuals, wait, we spent 5,200 in their actual this year.
Well, keep in mind, I think that's the line that the vault is coming out of. Oh, no, that was equipment. You said the vault came out of equipment, right? It came out of 200.
200.
Sorry, okay, my mistake.
So something major happened in there this year. In 23 was 5,700.
What's the number?
Water District 8. $7,700.
Did we buy two? Did we buy 2 water vaults or just the one?
Just one.
Just Johnson Road?
Yeah. Yep.
So there's nothing going on West Shelby. That was, and then the one on Freeman Road was already there.
Yeah, that's been there since the 90s, yeah.
There was parts put in there, wasn't there?
There was a meter change
Valve.
or something.
What district was that? Well,
Is that the one on Freeman Road?
That was in
Is 12?
I think it is, I don't know. I don't know.
Have to ask Dale if he can't let us know, like roughly where these districts are. I'm sure he's got it. He probably has a map, but I'd like to have.
I think it's been helpful.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
$5,000, I think it was.
I think too, if we find out that the contractual number for the source and supply should be the revenue, and the other one comes down, that's gonna make a big difference in the water district.
Okay.
Oh, I think I need that.
District 4 is East Shelby Road, Part 31, part of County House.
4A or 4B?
I just have 4 on here. I think it's, when it comes from the point, I think that's part of the B.
And you said that's East Shelby Road?
Mm-hmm. What was the other one you were wondering?
8?
8 is Dunlop, part of Ryan, West Shelby to Heller Road.
And where's Freeman Road? Which district is Freeman Road?
3.
Is there anything major in 8 this year?
That's where the accident was, but I don't think we lost any water in there. Seems like we had to do something past Dan's house once, but I don't remember it being major. Not that I can recall.
What was Saltworks Road?
Saltworks Road from Fuller Road to 31, all of 31 back to the county line, Freeman Road, and up a little bit on county lines 3.
3? So Freeman, Salt. You said 31?
31A from Middleport all the way to Saltworks Road, up Saltworks Road to Freeman, Freeman all the way to Niagara County.
So we have a line on 31A. I thought that was the village main line that came from, that was
The
there.
village main line is there, but all those houses are serviced by the town of Shelby.
Oh, okay, okay. That's part of the district, okay.
They tapped
Yep,
them
yep.
and ran spider lines all over the place.
Yeah, okay. I was thinking that you were telling us that the our lines were, okay. What would be in 8340 400, Dale? The transmission and contractual. What kinds of things would be in that line? Because it's a pretty
8340.
8340 400.
Is it a DB?
It's no, it's a water.
Oh, SW.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yes.
8340
400. It says transmission and distribution contractual.
I don't have that. My water, I believe, is 8310.
340, 400 contractual, transmission and distribution.
Yeah.
It's not a line that I have done since I've been here.
Okay.
Like I said, the water I do is the 8310.
So that would be.
6,500.
So that would be the one. So we did like about $1,600 in 22, 16 in 23, and right now it says 19,000 in 24. So I'm wondering, did something big happen there, or what would that have been that we didn't plan? And then we're budgeting 4,200 in that line. I'm just going to talk on District 1.
8340, 400.
Because when I did my budget request, I just used the lines that I was given from when I got here 5 years ago.
Over the board, 550 to 6,500.
That's under source of supply, power pump.
That'd be up there at the pump house.
That's what the thing is under. So that's the water tank. Contractual.
Transmission is 3,200, huh?
Well, that's the cost, I guess, if he's right, the tank, to push it through our transmission lines.
I heard you, but I didn't understand. I'm sorry. So what would that line be for? The actual tank itself,
No,
That's,
we don't own the tank, we own the water,
right?
and the pump.
and we own
Yeah.
3 pumps.
Yep.
So we have nothing to do with the village transmission line that comes up 31 to the tank. When it comes out of the tank, it becomes our transmission.
Okay.
So I'm assuming, just by what Scott said, that this expense is,
Like repairs or something on that line?
yeah, I mean, we have to maintain our pumps, and anything that has to do with water is expensive.
Okay, so I guess my question, probably more for Scott, is each district is different.
Yeah, one's 19.5 is 250.
One's 4,200. Why wouldn't you allocate?
Maybe that is the percentage.
Yeah. Everything,
Right,
everything
it's-
for water,
it's- everything has to be based on that percentage, whatever the benefit is to each of the districts, that's how it gets allocated.
Do you have those percentages just out of curiosity? I don't need them for tonight, but just if you could share those percentages, just so we get an idea. You know what those are?
yeah, they're written down. Beth has them,
Beth has 'em.
Okay.
but we're gonna have to those are gonna have to be redone.
So I still wonder, did something
So-
odd happen in District 6 this year? Because we're budgeting 19,500 in that district. I would think most of what goes on well, I shouldn't say that.
What's 6 though?
District 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, blank, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
District 6 is a free.
Oh, here it is. The sixth extension is Fletcher Chapel. I'm sorry. 63 up out of Shelby Center to Fletcher Chapel.
That's not down Fletcher Chapel or just up to it?
No, down Fletcher Chapel, almost to Posson Road.
So did something odd happen there this year? Or you're saying that's the percentage of the,
There's a lot of houses on
For that
there, so that's a
transmission
greater
line out of-
transmission.
Is that a main line?
Well, 63, all the houses up 63 from Shelby Center, and then the houses across Fletcher Chapel.
is the transmission line just, can you explain to me what that is, I guess?
The main line that runs in front of everybody's house is our transmission line. This is purely assumption that I'm thinking what they're talking here.
Okay,
So for us to get water from here to there, we have to push it through our transmission line. When it gets in front of a house, we tap it, push it, and send it over.
and who's responsible from that line, that transmission line?
We tap it.
To the
we put a
house.
Curb stop, and from that point, the curb stop is the property owner's.
The curb stop is at the road, kind of?
Wherever we can safely put it, yes.
Okay, some area.
There's a corp right at the tap, and then there's a curb stop.
So I guess now I'm really confused. So what's the difference between the transmission line here, this 8340-400, and the 8310-400? Like the pipe that you're putting in 8310, isn't that the same thing as the?
I think it's more the
83.
more the cost of moving it.
8310, what was it? 8340. Transmission and distribution. The source of supply for power and pumping the water. That's what 8310, 8340, 400. That's what.
So it's the electricity and
Everything.
the,
Source of
Everything
supply
for pushing
would-
the water.
Well, would that be the water also then? Source of supply? Supply would be the water?
no, because we're charging them for the water and they're
Yeah.
metered
Yeah.
probably.
Total source of supply,
But
powers and pumps.
So could that be the electric bill for those pumps to move the
Yeah.
water? Do we get that bill or does that go to the village?
Yeah, we started-
Village?
I think we started getting that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we get that, yeah.
So is there a way to clarify that for sure? Would Tina know? Or I guess I just would like to make sure that that is what that line is.
83, what's it, 8340? Yeah.
8340, 400.
83,
8340.
yeah, 8340, 400, yeah.
Okay. And then Kathy, you're saying that whatever, so let's assume the bill, we're estimating 46,000 for the year, then that bill is allocated based on some percentage of benefit to people?
Yes,
Okay, back to each district.
yes.
And that percentage must be based something on how many people are in each district using water?
I think that's how it's figured out, is a percentage, you know, Dale? The percentages, it's a percentage of consumption, people that use.
So if one road,
participating in the
if
water
one
system.
district has 40 people and another district has 5 people, then that, the
The
percentage.
percentage changes,
Okay,
yeah.
so it's based on the number of
Yeah.
households that are, okay, in the
So
district.
that's including
EDUs.
electricity to pump that up, pump it uphill.
Yeah, I know. Trump, but,
You hate it when you can't shut it off.
And Kathy, the bond, the debt service, principal and interest, those are based off the amortization schedules that must be somewhere.
Yes, and I think I have everything from all the districts. And I think Scott, didn't you send something out that had all that too? Isn't that in one of some of the water stuff you just sent?
Yeah.
Why is just at 5-0, sewer bond, is that,
There's no bond on 5 and 1.
that's already paid off?
No debt service on either one of those two.
Good for them.
Now, where's 5? In the town.
That's split up
You ready?
all over the place.
Oh, God.
no,
Job Corps?
no, Dublin Road.
Just one road?
Yeah.
Okay.
Really?
Where's Dublin Road? I never heard of that road.
Go across the canal off of, Fruit Avenue. Used to go back to the old Dublin dump.
Oh, you mean like the bridge they took out? It's that first road that where the houses are along the north side of the canal. Oh. Never heard that name. Road. Okay. I think I'm good with water. I want to go back to the, do you have anything else, or do you have anything else on water? I do.
No,
Anything else on water? Okay, can we go back to, can we go back to the, I don't have numbers on mine, sorry, general fund townwide, under appropriations.
8 months?
Yep, A fund, so A 1220, the supervisor services. I don't
Mhm.
think we ever resolved what we're doing with the secretary's hours. It looks like, I'm guessing they're in here roughly at
I think there's a,
22 hours a week.
no, I think there's, she put a cushion in there. I think there's like a $5,000-$6,000 cushion in there
Well, it's
in case we decide to increase hours if we need it. Because I'm at 11, what am I, 10?
10,875 or
10,878. Yeah,
something like that.
it's right on the back page as well.
So it's roughly 24, 125. I'm all out of order here.
Where's that last page? Payroll.
24, 122 is what we have in.
Okay.
And if you divide that by the rate,
I lost my sheets with that.
it's coming out to 22 and a half hours a week.
She only gets 15.
So why wouldn't we just drop that down?
I think it should stay at 15. We just agreed to it like month and a half ago or 2 months ago.
So a total of what?
Hold on, 20. 15.6 is what it comes out to. 15 times 52 is 780 hours. Plus your 10, 875, 878. 26.5.
Yeah, 26.5, but what if we need to add more hours later on?
I guess I'm still struggling with adding more hours because the hours that, well, we only, first of all, I don't know if anybody else saw more than the two, but I only saw the first 2 weeks of documenting. And a lot of what I'm seeing seem to be like one-time things, setting things up. Also, a lot of LGSS communication. This goes back to why I believe we need an accounting firm that comes on site. So we're paying somebody here to make copies and pull records and send records, and then we're paying them to deal with those records. If they were on site, they'd be pulling their own stuff. So we're paying extra for the fact that they don't come on site. And I don't see that. I don't see when that stuff goes away after LGSS right now or whoever we hire next year, Drescher and Malecki or whoever, once they get all this cleanup stuff, that is going to go away.
Okay,
Or I see it as going away.
who's going to transfer the funds?
That takes like 2 minutes.
Okay, who's going to do it? I can't do it.
Why can't you do it?
Municipal accounting is set up so that it's different. Someone has to transfer the funds, somebody has to approve it, and somebody has to sign for it. One person can't do all that.
Okay, so she can transfer the funds.
Okay.
If we have to,
Have you
we
just
have to
said-
have somebody that does that. But that's a 2 minute. I mean, I do transferring funds all day long. It takes a
Okay.
couple minutes to make the transfer, and all the bookkeeping of that is supposed to be done by the accounting firm.
Okay.
So the
but they
physical
can't
moving-
but they can't transfer the funds.
I understand that.
Yeah.
So the secretary will actually make the transfer.
Yeah.
We have to do that.
Okay.
But that's not 15 hours a week to do a transfer.
Okay.
She hunted down for me. I needed checks, canceled checks, the record of it to submit for my $250,000 chip funds. She's always doing something, and she was very good about finding them finally and printing them
But
out.
that's what our accounting
Yeah,
firm
that's
is getting
what
paid to
accounting
do. And if they,
I don't have
if-
access to them at the moment.
and because we don't have anybody on site right now, but that's exactly why I'm saying,
I just-
Transferring the funds.
we don't have, sometimes in small organizations, you can't necessarily,
You're okay with that? Okay.
it's either her or
You're-
Darlene.
With her doing that and doing 15 hours, you're okay with that too?
I say a max of 15 hours,
Yeah.
but it depends on what work has to be done. But
Sure, I'm sure as time goes on, like you're saying, right, we'll figure it out one way or the other. She may need more. You know, but I'm not
Maybe.
saying, I know you don't
Yeah,
want to hear
well,
that.
and the only reason
But
it's-
I'm just saying, if you're okay with her transferring the funds, right, then I'm okay with right now staying at 15 hours.
Okay,
All right?
fair enough,
Okay.
fair enough.
So we're gonna leave that at 26.5?
Yep. All right, right, let's see, what else? Oh, so contractual for you, Scott. I guess I'm still getting confused on what, who's buying what, like you're buying supplies for you and then there's some building and so I'm still go back to these contractual accounts are really confusing as to what's in what.
That, the contractual, the 400 is, any training, any mileage. Every time, I don't claim mileage, but if she starts claiming mileage, there's mileage. All that has to be accounted for. What's the mileage back and forth, Darlene?
67 cents a mile
And that's what, 2 miles there and 2 miles back?
Do you have
to
plans?
where,
The bank or
oh,
POSA?
it's like a little over a little like 4 miles.
Okay.
I think it's been, and the post office is also like 4 miles for around.
4 miles to go to the post office? Is
And
it
back.
2 miles from here to the post office?
Yep.
Holy cow.
Yep.
Who would think? Right? I mean, doesn't that seem like you could practically spit it and get there?
And the run faster.
Okay, so so now I'm hearing you go to the bank and why would we send 2 different
Yeah,
people to the
there's only
bank?
2 people.
I only take my stuff.
Yeah.
I don't take their stuff. She can't take my stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Okay.
it has to be
She
done
has
by
to be
2
done by her-
separate.
yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
fair enough. Okay.
Maybe you two could carpool.
There you go. You're getting the hang of this budget
I think I'm
thing.
getting it now.
You're getting the hang of this
Finally caught on.
budget thing. You see the penny? Start pinching
Yeah, I see.
it. That's what you're supposed to do. That's what you're supposed to do. Okay, so I'll go back and ask, are there specific conferences that you're estimating? Because I'm pretty sure when I'm spending
We could
9
probably
grand
cut
on-
that, I'd say, cut that down to 5.
Well, that'd be
Well,
fair.
wait, what do we spend?
Well, I still go back and look at like $21,000 in 2022. Something doesn't seem right with that.
No, those
How do you
numbers gotta
spend
be,
21,000 and then even 10,000?
that's gotta be skewed.
Because this year we're at 2,700.
Unless whatever software she uses comes out of that fund.
But you don't.
Yeah, the contraction would be the software. That's where mine comes out of is the
So
contraction.
I can tell you the software was 22 or 2,400. Which I still go back and say we should, if we're still with Williamson, somebody needs to talk to Williamson, Kathy, about getting that waived. If they didn't transfer all the funds over like they were supposed to, there should be a waiving of a fee for a year. And I don't know, there was a bill in there, I don't know when it was, at June or July, for Williamson for 2,400, and
Yeah.
I questioned
was-
that, and you pulled it out.
Yeah,
Did that
for
never?
me.
That was for Darlene, yeah, that was for Darlene. Yeah, that was giving her access to Williamson.
No, there was a
Really?
2,400
No.
maintenance,
Really?
it was a $2,400 maintenance invoice from them. It's your annual maintenance bill that you pay.
Hmm.
And then usually that gets you any software releases that happen during the year, and it gives you support for a year, like for you to be able to call. And I don't know, I'm hoping that never got paid because I never saw it again in the abstracts. And it was supposed to have gotten pulled.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't remember.
I mean,
seeing
we can leave it in there, but I'm telling you, I don't think we should pay it.
So I'll mark that down to 5,000,
Five.
supervisor contractual.
Yeah,
Hey, Linda,
yes.
I don't know, this is just a thought. I came in 2020 and Ed Hausnick had already had the budget done. Ed left in spring of 2020. Jeff came in and did a budget for 2021. Then he left, and then Steve was in there that did the budget for 2022. Then he stepped down and we brought Scott in. So there's been a lot of people with deer in headlight eyes, trying, just going by the numbers that were there previous, way back into the teens.
Yep.
So I think that's where some of the issue is that we're seeing.
Why the numbers
why
were high in the
numbers are
past.
heavy. Nobody wants to be short and everybody was using, well, this is what it was last year. It'll be all, this is how we do it.
Bad,
Well, no, but
bad way to look at it.
I'm just saying that's why, because when
Yes.
people get stuck into this position, it is,
That's why we Most of
And then
these,
you had
we
COVID
averaged
thrown
them
in
out,
there.
and that's why we averaged them out from the last 2 years and cut them down.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Instead of
You
just,
got 2 years of
instead of
COVID.
just repeating what was there, that's why we averaged the two and.
And
that's
that
why
is
we
what
cut 'em
happens.
each down.
People tend to look at the previous budget and say, we spent this, we had this last year, we should get a 5% or 3% increase. You just don't do it that way. You've got to look at what was spent and what of that is going to be respent in the next year.
But Scott hasn't had those numbers for 2 years.
Correct. But I do look at this year, if we're at 2,700 this year through
Understand, yes, absolutely.
September,
I'm
you know,
just trying to
$5,000 seems reasonable.
I can't think off the top of my head what that is. I don't know what the hell contractual is.
It probably is, it might be your software. That's 2,400.
Can't think of it off the top of my
But
head.
again, I say that
Your
it,
trainings,
We
you
should
pay
not.
for them too, right? You
Yeah,
start taking
the
some
training,
and then
yeah.
But you know that,
if you needed a new computer, if you needed a new printer.
that would go under
It
equipment.
went under equipment.
Speaking of which, did we get a list of what we purchased from
Joe,
CNH or CHPC?
I'll have to check with Beth.
Okay.
I'll ask her.
Kathy, do you have any, or Scott, maybe after having conversations with Drescher and Malecki, any feedback from them, whether they'll be done and whether we need to budget more money for them? Are they gonna, I'm thinking they're gonna be over the 16,000 we agreed to.
I haven't had any discussions specifically in that regard, but I can reach out to Nicole. I know she was gathering information. I know she was still waiting on some stuff. I saw an email exchange between her and Ted at Williamson today. So I'll send her a follow-up email and see what information I can get.
Okay. I guess I'm more just concerned if she goes over, it's gonna go into this year, but if she's thinking she's not gonna finish by December, we need to make sure we have something in for next year, and maybe that's
Yeah.
included in this 85. Is that what the 85 is, Scott? Like,
Yeah.
we figured like 65 for
Yeah.
a firm if we, and then, okay.
It was just, it's a guesstimate, because we have no way of
Yep.
knowing what it's gonna be.
Yep.
So that was a round figure. I asked Kathy, and she goes, yeah, that sounds reasonable.
Okay.
Are you, done with me?
Come on, Dale. I don't want to let you go unless I tell him where there's no highway. So machinery and equipment, this year we're roughly at 10. And again, I recognize that number is a very loose,
Which one?
DA 5130, 200.
Yeah, that's my, repairs. A lot of it's repairs, parts.
So we put 100 in we
Mm-hmm.
budgeted 90, we spent like 10, and now we went up to 100. Is there so again, we've got
We
9,
spent 10?
that's what it says on
Yeah.
here.
We spent a lot more than 10.
We just spent 40-some thousand on that resolution. That's where that truck came out of.
But that is a one-time purchase, don't forget, so
Yeah.
that's
But-
not gonna be next year.
We will probably use
There's
as much of that money as we can to pay for the back half of the truck, so we don't have to bond it. If we can figure out a way to pay cash for it, I would rather do that than bond it out. Saves the taxpayers money if we can pay cash for it.
Use for,
I mean, we got the equipment reserve. So.
okay,
I mean, it makes sense if we can pay cash for it, if we can do it. And-
machinery contractual, that might be where your repairs are, right?
Yeah,
'Cause the
that's,
equipment wouldn't be, that's a purchase.
3,400. Oh, you said
Yes,
200?
yeah, I was at 200, but that's okay, because he said he's gonna look.
400, that's your
Well, yeah, we
repairs.
bought,
Yeah.
right.
So in 400, it looks like you've spent up 32,000 so far, and somebody, I don't know if it's Scott or Tina, is estimating about 43,000 in total.
Well,
So,
we're gonna get all of our, get the trucks ready for winter coming up.
but do you do that every year?
Yeah.
So you wouldn't spend more than the 43 that you've already spent, right?
More than 50 anyways.
Well, Probably not.
Because again, same thing as in the other one. We budgeted 75. If you're at 43 now, will you hit the 75 by December in the next 6-8 weeks? Will you spend another 35,000?
Depends
Probably
if,
not.
depends if something breaks on the
Right.
trucks, right?
Right.
A major repair?
Well, we're
What do we-
gonna have quite a few going into that account for this,
What?
for the November billing, for the repairs.
Is CJ's truck down again? You guys just fixed
Nope,
it again?
it's actually run for 2 weeks straight.
It's machinery contractual, you want 100,000 for that.
That's the 200?
That's
400.
400.
Yeah.
200? No, I had 100 and something.
Yeah, 100,000.
Yeah, I'm sorry, we're in the 400 account,
That's,
Right.
and you're asking for 100,000.
Mhm.
that's your truck repairs?
Mhm.
You increased that by 25,000 from the 24 budget.
Just the
We're just
way-
wondering,
Just the way the trucks have been the last year.
Okay.
They've been spending a lot of time
okay,
out and down. And again, if it's not there, then we have to come back and move some money around.
okay. I think I'm good with Dale till I digest this version
I
again.
gotta get up at 2 in the morning, so. Thank you.
Thanks, Bill.
Thanks,
Thank
Dale,
you.
it's very
Appreciate
helpful.
it. Thank you.
Okay. Right. I think that's all I have for this version. Sorry, but the longer I sit and
I
look
just
at it,
keep
the more questions that, kind of like.
They could send you off to Albany, how much money we'd be saving?
Mm-hmm.
I can imagine what they pass.
Pinch, pinch, pinch,
Save it right
Yes.
here with Shelby.
pinch, pinch, pinch. Okay, so, we do need to, are we gonna get our calendars? We need to set a date. Are you gonna, how are we gonna do this, Kathy, if we determine that the water numbers were backwards and the expense was actually in the revenue line and vice versa?
I mean, you should set the public hearing and
And make sure
then
we're ready
set
for it.
another, right, and make sure you get everything back in time for it and schedule another meeting for yourself sometime
Yeah.
before that public
After
hearing
this-
date.
After the 7th, because that's the last. I don't know, the 7th, September.
We should,
Yeah, it's gotta be done by the 7th,
we should do the public hearing.
after the 7th, right?
No, we can do it.
It's gotta be done by the
I think
7th.
the
Yes.
7th.
Yep.
Right, no,
We're supposed to be adopting the final budget by the 7th.
Okay, so we need the public hearing.
Oh, I thought it was the 20th, final budget, November 20th, it was last year.
Final budget, yeah, but adopt from tentative to,
It's gotta be before the 7th,
Yeah.
or 7th.
Right,
so we could,
Public hearing can't be till after you adopt it, right?
adopt it, yeah.
So it'd be between the 7th and the 20th.
No, wait a minute, when you guys say adopt, that to me says we're making it a
Oh,
final.
no, the finals,
Okay.
the 20th, up to the 20th.
we could set a meeting for the 1st to make the tentative to preliminary.
That's a Friday.
Yep.
Okay.
The first day Steve's back. We
Oh,
could
okay, we gotta
we
wait.
could all get together and vote to, make it the preliminary.
Clock, Scott?
Yeah, 6, yeah. On the 1st at 6 PM?
Oh, okay, sorry, I'm on the wrong month.
And then this,
That's a Friday,
the 7th, it's gotta be done by the 7th to make it,
to change it.
no,
Well, I know that we've always done, we're supposed to have the final,
if we're gonna make it, we can make it the preliminary by the 1st, most likely.
Yeah, not the
Okay.
final, but the preliminary.
The preliminary, so you can schedule,
then we need a public hearing.
you can schedule a
After
public
that.
hearing for the 7th.
For a preliminary public hearing.
When's our meeting?
The 12th, yeah.
Couldn't you adopt it on the 12th?
We could adopt it on the 12th, after the public hearing. That's what I was just gonna say. If we have the public hearing on the 7th, we could adopt it on the 12th and be done with it.
I think we'll have to, that could very well happen, but I think we need to be fluid,
Yeah.
that if there's enough conversation at the
Yeah.
public that we decide we want to make some changes, we might not be able to
Yeah,
get
you
it
better-
done by
Why
the
don't we,
12th.
why don't we
You know what I'm saying?
plan? Why don't we plan meetings for all the next week? 28th, 29th, and 30th. And maybe, why don't we go day by day? Why don't we plan a meeting every day for us?
Well, the public's gotta be notified.
Yeah, I think the questions are, at this point, I think the questions are gonna come from the public hearing.
Yeah, after,
You-
at the public hearing, yeah, but I'm saying for us to go over the tentative, to meet as much as we can to get this done.
Honestly, once she makes the change on the water, and I
If that's
I need
wrong,
to see
yeah.
what that looks like.
Yeah.
That's gonna drive whether I have more questions, because if that was, she flips that corrects a lot in my mind. If she doesn't, and she says she's got them in the right place, then I need to understand why we're putting revenue less than what we're expending.
Oh, we know those, we're upside down on a couple of those. It's just, we're not being covered.
Again, I'm not questioning whether we bring in enough revenue to cover all the expenses. I'm questioning whether we're bringing in enough revenue to
Yeah.
cover the water we're actually buying, which that certainly should happen.
Mhm.
Because we're charging $2.50 more to you, right, than what we're paying to them.
All these meetings are at 6 p.m.
Yes.
What'd you say we're gonna meet again on the 28th and 29th and 30th?
Well, tentatively schedule it.
Well, if she has the answers on this water by 28th, we should be done.
We should be done, yes. Darlene, if you want to put an announcement on the website, tentatively schedule, tentative budget meeting, 6 p.m., well, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Could be canceled daily. Where we're letting everyone know, hey, 6 o'clock, these 3 days we're gonna have meetings, but check the website to see if they're canceled. Or call the town clerk to see if they're canceled.
Okay, can we go through this? I'm sorry. So the 28th, I'm just worried about the one right now. For the 28th, we're gonna have another
Tentative, yes.
tentative, okay.
Yep.
Let's assume that we fix it, that we get
Yeah.
everything answered. On the
Here's
first,
the thing, if you find out they haven't given the answers, it's pointless to meet. You know what I mean?
oh, she should have the answers.
Well,
I would hope in a week.
Okay,
Yeah.
but if she doesn't.
Yes,
What's
yes.
the point of us just staring at each other?
Well, we
Correct.
could, I'll let you guys know tomorrow what she says. We could even meet this Friday.
So we've got the 28th, the 29th, and the 30th as tentative budget meetings
Yes,
at 6 p.m.
Yep.
And then we've got November 1st, the tentative to the preliminary budget.
Yep.
At 6 p.m. On November 7th, we've got a preliminary budget public hearing.
yes.
November 7th, propose to adopt the budget at the town board meeting. Yes,
The first, we're gonna make it the preliminary.
Yep.
The 7th is a public hearing.
Yep.
And then the
12.
12th, we make it the final budget.
well, when do you adopt it?
Well, that's, I'm,
She's saying
Oh, okay,
adopted
you
as
adopt the
final.
budget, Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
we could actually move this timeline up if we wanted. Do you guys wanna consider for Friday at 6 o'clock?
I'm playing a werewolf scaring Shelby kids on a tram ride.
Oh, yes, she.
Friday? Oh, that's right, yeah, yeah.
The Friday Shelby Halloween
Okay.
ride.
All right.
I can't do.
So we'll leave it till Monday.
Wait, what are you doing?
He's saying this Friday, the 25th.
That's what we're doing?
Nothing.
No,
We're not gonna
nothing.
do it.
He was questioning,
Okay.
nothing.
So we'll leave it for Monday, the 28th, 6 p.m.
I'm
Can
not,
you,
I'm not gonna do it the 29th.
okay, that's
So
fine. Well, hopefully we're
we've got
done the
everything
28th.
done.
Can you shoot an email to all of us with the dates, Charlie?
Yes.
Okay. You got the resolution for the truck?
Yes.
So you can do the invoice?
This place is done, Cassie has that.
Okay,
But then as far as the, resolution, yes, I'll type up the
okay,
resolution.
yeah, that's fine. Okey dokey.
All right.
I got one more thing, there's a video going around town. Me, it must be taken in here somewhere with me looking at the bills. And for some reason, the guy told me that the supervisor told him to foil for it.
No.
Yep, well, that's what he said.
He wants to,
You, He had no idea what he was foiling for. That's exactly what he said.
And who's this?
I'm not gonna say names
Why not?
because I'm the subject of it, of that. I want the full video of the July 9th in this room all day long. I want the video of it so I can look at it.
I'll put it on a thumb drive. You can come in and watch it.
No, I want it on my phone so I can take it home.
No, Kathy already said you can watch it here.
Now, I'm a board member. I should be able to take it anywhere I want. You gave it out to him and it's all over town. It's all BS.
It's a foil.
I was doing why is it all over town?
Well-
He's just foil. It's all over
Once
town.
he gets a foil, he can do whatever he wants with it. That we have
All
nothing
right,
to do
why
about
do I
it.
got a foil and I can't take it home and he
So,
can?
you could give it to him on a thumb drive for that date.
Okay.
All right. Okay.
The same as the member of the public.
Okay. Once somebody gets a foil, Eddie, they can do whatever they want with it. We can't stop them.
Well, I was told that you made the foil out. He didn't know it was on it. He came in and signed it and took it.
No.
Well,
Okay, anything else?
and I told him I was doing my job. That's what I was doing.
I will get that thumb drive. Okay. I'll get the video. You got anything else, Linda?
No, I'm good.
No, I'm good.
Steve? Jeff?
I'll be
Yeah,
like
Steve's not
Steve
here?
if you want.
All right, good then.
I'm good.
Thanks, everyone.
A lot of stuff get off.
Did they?
Thank you to all of you for putting your time in.
See you guys later.